Hello everyone and welcome back to the Synergy Sanctum. My name is Justin. Thank you so much for stopping by. Here at the Synergy Sanctum, we specialize in all things related to Magic the Gathering with a specific focus on deck building. So I aim to show you very quick deck techs that'll show you all of the cards in the deck and how they work together to ultimately achieve the goals of that deck. If you're not already, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We really appreciate that. And we also have a sister channel now, so head on over to Commander Coliseum and check out their content as well. And for today's deck tech, we have another Halloween-themed deck with Toby, Beastie Befriender, a mono-white EDH blink strategy here. Toby is having imaginary friends, and he wants these imaginary friends to come and be alive when he enters. So Toby's ability says that when Toby Beastie Befriender enters, you get to create a 4/4 white beast creature token with this creature can't attack or block alone, and that's fine because the strategy here is to make a ton of them. So Gribble is this imaginary creature's name, and we are going to be making so many Gribbles with Toby, blinking Toby a bunch and a bunch of other ETB creatures in this deck. And then Toby's second ability says that as long as you control 4 or more creature tokens, which we will, those creature tokens have flying. So it's not only going to be Gribble coming in as a 4/4 on the ground, he's going to be flying over your opponents and attacking them as well. So very affordable, kind of fun build here. TCG market value is $127 to $156, and we are running 35 lands, with 23 of those being plains and 12 of those being non-basic lands. So getting into the strategy, we have, I want to say, every single blink card that exists in mono white in this deck. So ideally our strategy is going to be to get Toby out as quickly as possible, and then start blinking him a ton to make Gribble, his 4/4 imaginary friend, coming in as well, and then to kind of do that as often as possible. If that strategy ends up failing, then we will go ahead and blink some of the other ETB creatures we have. So getting into it today, here are our first set of blink cards. So we are running a teleportation circle. At end step, you get to blink a creature you control. Scroll shift lets you do it off of the instant, and then you get to draw a card. Slip on the ring lets you exile a creature you control and blink it back to the battlefield, and then the ring tempts you. Restoration Angel does it off of entering, so this is really kind of interesting because if Restoration Angel enters, you can do it, and then you can kind of be blinking Restoration Angel instead of Toby to then blink Toby as well. Semester's End lets you blink any number of target creatures you control, and at the beginning of the next end step they come back, and they come back with additional +1 counters. Philia Exuberance Shepherd, little doggy here, when it attacks you get to blink something, and it comes back at the next end step, and then Philia gets a counter. Justicari's Portal lets you blink something, and then it gives it first strike. Parting Gust, you can gift something, but if you don't, then it's a blink card for 2 white. Really good. Long Road Home lets you exile a target creature. Beginning of the next end step, it comes back with additional counters. Otherworldly Journey, same deal. You can exile it. Beginning of the next end step, it comes back with an additional +1 counter. And then Gilrain Dundane Protector from the Lord of the Rings set. For 2 mana, you can exile, repeatable exiling another creature you control, return it to the battlefield, and then if you don't, then you return. If you don't, at the beginning of the next end step, you bring it back, and it comes back with a Vigilance and a Lifelink counter. So if you delay the return, it comes back stronger. Ghostway lets you do it for every creature you control. Acrobatic Maneuver lets you do it and you draw. Charming Prince has multiple ETB triggers, but one of them is to blink something else until the next end step. Same with Flicker Wisp. Flicker Wisp says that you can exile another permanent and return it under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. Flicker of Fate lets you blink. Ephemerate lets you do it, and then it has Rebound to do it again at your next turn. Eerie Interlude lets you do it for any number of target creatures, and they come back at the beginning of the next end step. Same with Another Round. Lets you do it as many for as many targets as you want for X. Or no, for as many targets, and then you repeat the process X more times, so this is repeatable. Distinguished Conjurer says that when another creature you control enters, you gain a life, but then for 5 mana, you can blink something. Cloud Shift lets you do it at instant speed, and Conjurer's Closet is at beginning of end step. You can blink something. And then our initial strategy is to make a bunch of Gribbles with the creature tokens from Toby, but there are several cards in mono white that do this as well. So we're running a couple of those, like White Sun's Twilight. You get to gain X life and make X 1/1 Phyrexian Might artifact creature tokens with Toxic 1. All-Tech Matter Weaver, whenever you cast a creature spell, you can make a gnome token. Tempt with Bunnies lets you draw and then create a rabbit, and then everyone else does it, and however many people do it, you get to do it again. Mirrex can become it can let you make a creature token for 3 mana. And then Preston, the Vanisher, always a showstopper in Blink decks, but he says, whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, if it wasn't cast, which it isn't when it's blinked, you get to create a copy of it that's a 0/1 white illusion token. So, not a huge deal, the 0/1 kind of piece here, but anything that has an enter the battlefield effect, you're going to get to double it up with Preston, so super good there. Grand Crescendo lets you make X 1/1 green-white citizen creature tokens, and then everything gets indestructible, so some protection there. Adeline Resplendent Cathar says whenever you attack, you get to make some tokens. Castle Ardenvale lets you create it for 4 mana. God Eternal Okitra lets you make zombies off of casting creatures. Felidar Retreat lets you make cats when you play lands. And then Entrapment Maneuver says that a target player sacks an attacking creature, so it's some removal. They're coming at you. And then you get to make that many soldiers, where X was that creature's toughness. And then some additional protection in the deck, so we're running all of these instants that give indestructible, like your temple is under attack, Moogle's Valor, Rootborn Defenses, and Unbreakable Formation. With Moogle's Valor, you also get to make 1/2 white Moogle creature tokens with lifelink, so that one's really good. And then with Unbreakable Formation, it gives you +1 counters if you're doing that during your main phase. And then other good stuff in the deck. So Sun Titan has an enter the battlefield and attack ability to bring permanents 3 or less back from your graveyard to your battlefield. We've got Ghostly Prison to protect us. Cathar's Crusade is really, really good with all the blink we're going to be doing every single time. Like Gribble, that creature token comes in from Toby. Everyone's getting a +1 counter, or any of the things that we're blinking. Rosie Cottonwood's another one, so if we're going to be making a lot of tokens, every time you do that, she can make something bigger. And then Panharmonicon is doubling up all of these enter the battlefield triggered abilities, so really broken there. A lot of draw in the deck, and the draw focused on creatures entering the battlefield. So Spirited Companion and Helpful Hunter, when they enter, they draw a card. Staff of the Storyteller makes a token when it enters, and then whenever you create 1 or more tokens, you can put a story counter on it and draw from that. Minas Tirith lets you draw based off of whether you attacked with 2 or more creatures. Idol of Oblivion lets you draw if you made a token. Secret Rendezvous lets you and another person draw 3 cards. Same with Cut a Deal. If everybody draws, you draw for each opponent that drew 1. Rumor Gatherer, the second time a creature enters, you draw. Bonder's Enclave lets you draw if you have a 4 or greater creature. And then Benny Brack Zoologist has Convoke to cast him, but then at the beginning of each end step, if you created a token, you draw. And you'll notice a lot of the blink cards were instant, so these are things that you can be doing on every opponent's turn, not just your own. And then even more draw in the deck, so we've got War Room, so at the cost of 1 life, you'll get to draw. Wall of Omens and Inspiring Overseer draw when they enter. And then Takasha's Welcome, whenever 1 or more creatures you control with mana value 3 or less enter, you draw a card, and that triggers once a turn. But tokens have 0 mana value, so this will work every time you're creating a token. And then a decent amount of removal in the deck, so we've got a Sword to Plowshares and a Path to exile creatures. Stroke of Midnight and Generous Gift to destroy permanents. Martial Coup is our board wipe because it makes tokens. If X is 5 or more, you get to destroy all other creatures besides those soldiers that it makes. And then Lauren of the Third Path off of ETB blows up an enchantment or an artifact, and then you can tap for you and an opponent to draw. And then lots of decent amount of mana in the deck. The Wind Crystal is a mono white discounter, so white spells cost 1 less, and it's got some life gain stuff on it as well. But for 6 mana, you can turn all of these tokens into flyers with lifelink. Solemn, Knight of the White Orchid, and Loyal Warhound are all fetching you a plains when they enter. Archaeomancer's Map. When it enters, you get to search for up to 2 planes and put them in your hand. And then Pearl Medallion to discount our spells. And a Soul Ring is our mana rock. And with that, our show has come to an end. Thank you so much for watching our video. And if you enjoyed that video, feel free to share it out with any friends who might find value in it as well. Thank you so much for stopping by. We hope to see you again soon. Have a good one.